Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Emily and I make a lot of videos about Salesforce. Today we're going to be doing a very highly requested video, and this is just going to be some of the basics of being a Salesforce admin, doing Salesforce admin training. We're going to be covering loads and loads of things, and I will put timestamps down below, or at least I'll try to put timestamps down below so you can jump around to whichever parts you need or you don't need and can skip past. A few other housekeeping items here at the top. Be sure to like, subscribe, all those fun things. I do have 3 courses on Udemy covering user training, admin training, and preparing for the app builder exam. Check those out. I also have another video that is covering user training. So if you are brand spanking new to Salesforce, then you might want to go check that out first before you head into the admin training section. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's talk about objects first at the top. This is going to be part of the Salesforce data model. Objects are just a group of data, and you can have different things within that group of data, and it's where that group of data is going to live. So let's go ahead and hop into an opportunity here. Opportunity is an object, as well as leads and tasks and accounts, contacts. Those are all different groups of data for different purposes. Opportunities are just going to be our deals that are either won, lost, or in the works. And we'll see all of the different details here of that specific deal that's in the work. Things like amount, how much do we think we're going to make? When should this opportunity be closed by? What type of customer are these? All this different information that would help us close the deal or help us gather data on how we close deals in the future and help us to make our process go better. And all these things we can also report on. But we'll cover reporting at the end of this video. Let's talk about how we create a new object. So I'm going to go into setup. So you just click the gear icon, hit the first one for setup. Setup is the admin back end of Salesforce. We are just on the front end where most of the users are at, and they'll be doing all of their record keeping things that we like to see them do. The Salesforce setup is going to be the back end of Salesforce for admins, and there is another, I guess, quote unquote, back end for developers when they are coding on it, but we're going to stick with the setup. In here, we can search in the quick find. I can also go to the object manager, and here I'm going to create a new object, new custom object, or another group of data. So I click create custom object, and we're going to enter in all the details here. Anything that has a red icon next to it is required. So a group of data that we might not have in a Salesforce org right off the bat is a projects object. It does not start with a vowel. I'm going to open the standard help. Record name, data type is text. Now here we can allow optional features, which are creating reports, allow activities, allow field history tracking. So any changes that happen on a field or a specific line item of data, we can track what changes have been made. And we can allow chatter groups. All these other settings we don't need to, the object classification, we don't necessarily need to know. I'm going to allow this to be searched. We can have this be in development or deployed. So these are going to be a little different. In development, users won't be able to see it, but anyone on the back end should be able to see the object. And so maybe if we are building out a new custom object and we didn't want anyone to have access to that object while we are building it out, that's when we'd have it be in development. This is just a test trailhead org. That's not real data. No one is working in it, and I'm comfortable having this be deployed. And then we have some object creation options. I'm going to add notes and attachments. I find that super duper helpful. And then I'm going to launch a new custom tab wizard. So when you create a new object, to be able to have access to it on the user front end of Salesforce, you're going to need to have a custom tab. Without that, your users won't be able to enter in any of the data on their custom object. So when our project's object goes live, if there was not a custom tab, then they would not be able to access it. But after we are done creating this new custom object, we'll be launching the wizard to create a new custom tab. So I'm going to hit save. And here we come and create a new custom tab for objects. Select the tab style. You can choose whatever you would like. Let's see, I'm going to choose ticket for our tab style. And we don't need a custom splash page link. Hit next. Now this is going to cover profiles. So when you are a user, you are assigned a profile, and this helps determine what you have access to within Salesforce. Now there are lots of different tools, and they can be kind of complicated to go over security within Salesforce. The custom and standard profiles are going to determine if you have access to this object or not. Here, right now, it's applying one tab visibility to everyone, so everyone will be able to see projects. If we wanted it to be default off for everyone or default hidden for everyone, we'd be able to do that. Or we could have this be only open to the system admin or a few different other users. Again, this is a test org. I'm going to apply one to all and hit next. And within Salesforce, we have different apps, and this will create a tab within that app. Actually, let me quickly show you what a tab or an app is. Here up in the 3x3, view all. These are different apps that we have, and so they serve different functions. So we have different experiences, different objects, and different layouts for sales department, for the service department, like customer service, or the marketing department, as well as those that are creating content for our business. Let me go back to the back end. So what this is going to do is this is going to have projects be available on each of those different ones. So I'm going to hit save. And now here's the back end of projects as a custom object. And we have different things here. We have fields, page layouts, record types, buttons, links, and actions, all these different fun things. We won't go into each of these, but that is how you create a new custom object. Next, we're going to go into our fields and relationships on this project object. So fields are going to be the different line items that you will see on the record. So if we're on opportunities, these are going to be fields like the close date is a field, the amount is a field, owner is a field. All these different pieces of information are fields, and we enter in information that is relevant to the purpose of that field. Let's hit new, and we will, let's see. Okay, so there are tons and tons of different field types. Each of these serves a different purpose. We have things like auto number that's going to auto generate a number for you. So let's say you had a shipping object. You'd want an auto number to generate for a tracking number to be sent out to the client so that they can track their package. That's an example of when you'd want to use auto number. More of the more common ones you're going to use are things like checkbox or currency or date or text, pick list. All these different things will help us to differentiate our data and have it be more succinct. One thing from one admin to another is try to reduce your text field usage as much as possible. Text fields are great if you have letters and words that you need to put into a field, or like a title or maybe some notes. But if you are putting a number like how many employees they have into a text field, that's not going to be a good use of a text field. You should use a number. The reason being is that it is really useful when it comes to reporting that it is formatted correctly, and you can do different things reporting on a number field than you can on a text field. So it's really important, as well as currency fields. Let's say you had an amount or the cost or something that dealt with currency. You'd want to have a currency field rather than a text field. So then you can, one, have the correct currency formatting, but also report on that later. That is my little spiel on using text fields as little as possible. So as far as the field that we're going to be creating here on our projects object, is that we're going to be creating a pick list type field. So pick lists are going to give us multiple options to choose from, and we'll be able to select one. This is going to be a type field for types of projects. Again, anything in red is going to be required. For values, we have two options. We can use a global pick list value set, or we can enter them individually. Global pick list value set, just real quickly, is a set of values that you can use across objects. This is going to be kind of confusing if you're new to Salesforce, but let's think of our opportunities, our leads, and our accounts objects that we have within Salesforce. Let's also pretend that we had 3 different offices. We had a San Francisco office, an Austin, Texas office, and a New York City office. We would oftentimes, or we would likely have, opportunities, leads, and accounts also have a pick list value that would be broken down by office. So let's say on opportunities, we wanted to see what office it was. We'd have pick list value. You'd put in San Francisco, or you'd put in Austin, Texas. You'd also do the same thing on the leads object. You'd say what office is that lead assigned to, as well as the account, what office is that lead assigned to. This is when you'd want to use a global pick list value set, so you can essentially copy paste that whole pick list value set for the different offices and have it be a standardized thing. This is super useful if you had like 20 different offices across the world and you didn't want to have to copy and paste and do that all manually. So, little spiel about global pick list values. Let's enter in some individual values. Each new line is a new pick list value. I'm going to have this be internal projects, external projects, and a combo. So both internal and external. All right, so there we have entered our values for a pick list. We can display them alphabetically, which I find extremely useful. And I do not want it to default this. And I'm going to restrict it to just these 3 types and not allow users to enter in their own. We can help enter in a description for the admin backend of this specific field. I think type is pretty indicative, as well as we can enter in some help text. This, in my experience, helps us and helps our users to fill this field out more. So if you are looking to have your users fill a field out more, try adding some help text to what they should put in the field. Because it's just me working in this org, I'm not going to add that. We can require it, not going to require it, hit next. And here again, this is for our profile visibility. It's called field level security. We can have this be visible to everyone, read only to everyone, or visible or read only to certain people. I'm going to leave this where it's at. And then we add it to the page layout, which we will cover soon. All right, there we go. We have a type field. All right, and I want to add one more field before we go. Click New. I want this to be a currency field. And I'm going to have the field label be project cost. Okay, so here we can have this be up to 18 digits. And then with 0 decimal places. Because this is a currency, I'm going to reduce this to 16 and 2. So then we have the max amount of characters needed or digits that we can enter in for the length, but also with the decimal places for currency. And that's just a quick example of help text. How much will this cost our business? And that will display very much similarly to how this help text icon is displaying. I'm not going to require this. I'm going to hit next. And keep field level security the same and save. All right. So try and reduce your usage of text fields as much as possible for reporting, which we'll talk about later. We're going to talk about page layouts. All right, I'm going to type in projects and go to that custom object that we made. I'm going to create a new record here, project name, test project, and this is going to be an internal project. Hit save. It should take us to a project. So this is going to be what we like to call it as a page layout. So we are on a page, a record page, and this is going to display our different fields that we have shown. There are different ways to have page layouts be in general. We can move around fields. We can add fun different things to it. We can add accordions to maybe hide different fields or to collapse if there's a lot of fields in different sections. We have related lists, which will just show how things are related to one another. But let's go ahead and go back to the back end of our projects object and hit page layouts. Okay, so here we have currently only one page layout. Here we can add and remove different fields. So we have the type and the project cost that we just created together, and I dragged it off to our box that we can select our fields from to remove it from the page layout. So if I were to hit save, I like to do quick save, it keeps you on this page, and then refresh this page, then it should hide and we will no longer see those two custom fields. So that's kind of what page layouts dictate, are things that we see. We can go ahead and talk about record types. So I'm going to hit save. This will take us out. And so record types work with page layouts to create a customized experience for different departments, for different purposes within Salesforce. So record types are associated with page layouts and with profiles. So we talked about profiles before, how they create the security process for different people within Salesforce. Oftentimes this is going to be a specific role within the company. So let's say we had a sales user, a service user, and a marketing user. These three different people and different profiles, different departments, these people are going to have different purposes for using Salesforce. One's going to be using the cases and trying to help customers fix their issues. Other people are going to be trying to sell, as well as other people that are going to be in marketing are going to be using the marketing features. You may have all three of those people on the same object, such as opportunities, but they're going to need to see different fields, be able to fill these fields out, maybe have different pick list values that they have associated with them. And so we would differentiate that based upon record types. So Here we can go into record types in the back end of our object, whichever object you want, and hit new. Okay, so we have a few other options. We can create it off of the master. Let's have this be marketing record type. Have it be active. And I unclicked make available, and I only want this to be for marketing users as well as the sysadmin. So then the system admin can see it. I'm going to hit next. And here is where we would add the page layout if we had a specific page layout for marketing users. Currently, we only have the projects layout, but we would need to go back in and create a marketing layout for those marketing users and have it be for those custom fields that were specific to marketing. So for projects, you might have a field labeled ROI, or is marketing team involved, where it's a checkbox of yes, marketing team is involved. Or let's say for an internal project, you might have a task associated with it for the marketing team to write a blog post about it or to put it on the company's social media page, just so then we can share and market out what we're doing as a company that's good. Let's go ahead and hit assign page layout. One thing is that we can differentiate the different pick list values and hide different pick list values or add more pick list values based upon the record types. So let's say we had on our type field that we just created, we can add another value to have it be a marketing project. This is not going to be used by a regular user, but only by the marketing user. We could have it be hidden on the master page layout, but only made available on the marketing page layout. Let's jump back into page layout assignments here. So as you can see, this is a little bit more of a visual representation of how record types, page layouts work in conjunction with record types and profiles. So here, let me hit edit assignment. We can see that. So here we have two different record types. We have the master one that is auto-created by the system, and then we have the marketing one that we've already created. We also have all of our different profiles that can be assigned based upon your role within the company. You can see we have marketing and sales and support. So here, if we wanted to change marketing for the master and the marketing profile, we could do that and then come here and select the page layout. Currently, we only have one project layout, but pretend that we have another one for marketing. We would be able to assign both that page layout and that record type to the marketing profile. We would come here, hit save, and done. So again, that really just changes the different experiences that different profiles, different groups of people have within Salesforce. You'll want to make this every single record type and page layout available to the system administrator, so then they can test and fix any issues that those users might come up with. So next we're going to jump into creating a new user. So in setup, I'm going to hit home and type in user into the quick find. This is something that I did a lot as an admin in smaller companies. You can create automations to add these new users automatically, especially if you're working in a big, large company. This would something that would likely be automated. But let's go ahead and hit new user and I'll show you how to set this up. So again, anything with red is going to be required. We can add in Jane Doe first name, last name. Alias is going to be the first letter of the first name and the first 3 letters of the last, or maybe 4. But what this is going to do is it'll likely show the alias on a list view of records, just so then you know who it is owned by, and oftentimes you'll be able to tell who it is by their alias. Next we have is email. So email is going to need to be probably their work email. So if I put emily@callsolutions.com, then it'll also create a username that is unique, that is going to pretty much just be the exact same thing as the email. Then you have a nickname. So this is going to just be likely user and then the number user, that is an auto number in the system. So then it is unique one for the system as well as for communities. Then we can add title, company, department, division. Those things I don't think are very useful unless you have a very large org. Now we come over to licenses. So let's talk about licenses. These are different things that open up different functionality within Salesforce. These are things that you have to pay for. You pay for the license to use the Salesforce org or other things. Think of this as like a Netflix account. You pay for Netflix. That is going to be a license that you have. So I'm going to have this be the Salesforce license. There are different licenses for different purposes. You can use Chatter for chattering within the org. Salesforce platform allows you access to some of the objects within Salesforce, but not all of them. Salesforce allows you access to everything. Roles is going to be what type of role are they in? Typically, this is going to be their title of the job. So I'm going to have it be direct sales. And then we can assign a profile to them. And this is going to establish their baseline access. So I'm going to have her be a standard user. Now we have other types of users and licensees, like have her use flows or knowledge or marketing or be offline user. These are all things that you can dive into if you want to, but I don't think they're very important for this tutorial. And then I'm scrolling down, seeing if there's anything I want to point out to you. Locale settings. So you can change on the user where their time is and what language they're in. Let's say she was in Japan. I would be able to change her locale, her time zone, and her language so then it is most comfortable to her. But I'm going to change the time zone to, let's put it in mountain time, because that is my time. All right, leave it as English. And then we have approver settings for approval processes. I do have a video on approval processes. So let's say you just submitted a record that needed to be approved, such as a discount. Then this would establish her automatic approver. And this is going to probably be her manager. So I'm going to hit save. And there we go. We have created a new user within Salesforce. One thing that you'll likely be doing a lot as a Salesforce admin is resetting passwords. There are a few different ways. I think there are 4 different ways to reset passwords. One is on the login screen. You can have them reset it themselves, like through the forgot password button. And that's the easiest one for you as an admin, is to have them do the forgot password. But if that's not working, then you can come here on her user profile, hit reset password. It will send an email, and they have 7 days to click on the link to reset their password. Another way is to hit edit, scroll down, click the generate new password and notify user. Then you'd hit save. It would do that. And then finally, if we're out here on users, we can select their box and then hit reset password. And here is where you can do it for multiple people as well. All right, so that is resetting passwords. Now let's go into profiles, creating a custom profile. Okay, so here are profiles. Again, these help us establish which objects and what functionality you can have within Salesforce. I'm going to hit new profile and we can go in and set it up. I'm going to have this be a sales user. And we'll need to have a profile to copy this from. So it'll take all the standard user permissions and it'll copy it to the sales user, and then we can go in and edit the copy. So I'm going to hit save. And here we have the different things we can customize. I'll hit edit. First, we have our custom app settings. So if we wanted to, this sales user not have Analytics Studio or the app launcher, then they would not be able to see that. I want to keep them with the app launcher though. They don't need content, experiences, or marketing, so I can remove those. Now here we come to those tab settings that we talked about earlier. We can have all these be default on, or we can change it to default off. So let's say if we wanted the individual's object to be hidden, we could change that here. I'm going to scroll down. Next we have administrative permission. So if we wanted all of the users with this profile to be able to manage profiles and permission sets, then here's where we'd come in and checkbox that on. They can also manage password policies and change how often you need to update your password. A bunch of just really weird one-off permissions here. They can subscribe to reports. I want to allow them to subscribe to dashboards and add recipients, send groups and roles. And then we have general user permissions. So again, a bunch of really random permissions that they might need to do, like manage flows, manage leads, manage cases, transfer leads and cases. If they don't have the option to do these specific things, come and check in these profiles to check their permissions to see if they are allowed to do that. Oftentimes I've found if there's something weird with their permissions, it's usually in the general user or the administrative permissions. And that usually fixes it. All right, now we scroll down. Now we come to the standard object permissions. This is where we have the CRED permissions. CRED stands for create, read, edit, delete. This allows users to, based upon their profile, which is what we're on, to do any of those actions on each individual object. And you do need to set this up for each individual object or based upon what they need to be able to do within Salesforce. So I want to allow them create, read, edit, delete the price book entries. And yeah, we can also do this for custom objects. It's going to be differentiated between standard and custom. Then we have session settings. So timeout after how many hours, how many minutes of inactivity. Minimum is 15, maximum is 24 hours. I'm going to leave it at 2. Then we can also set the password policies here. I am going to hit save. And there you go. That is how you create a profile. So a profile is generally used for a group of people, similarly to like a same role or department. So sales, marketing, finance. You might see another one for service. And these are going to be a baseline for that group of people of basic permissions to open up things related to their job function. So sales needs to see opportunities, leads, accounts. Sales will probably need to see accounts and cases. Marketing, projects, analytics, dashboards, that type of thing. You had someone who needed additional permissions to it, like a manager. So we'd have a sales manager, service manager, marketing manager. This is where permission sets come in. They're almost identical to profiles, except that they can be added to profiles to give incremental access. So let's say we had sales users, they weren't able to delete or transfer opportunities. We could create a permission set to assign in addition to the sales user, but only give those to sales managers or to those who needed that access. So I'm going to go to permission sets and click new. Have this be for a sales manager. And we have the option to require session activation, so they have to go through a whole nother sign-in process, and as well have a license assigned to it. I'm going to have neither of those be the option, but again, if you're working in your production org, then you're going to need to validate all these different things beforehand. So let's go ahead and go into the object settings and go to opportunities. And let's go with the example that we've already talked about, how they will need to transfer and modify these. I'm going to allow them to modify all, create, and hit save. And then we can also search for the different settings, the one-off settings like transferring settings within here. So I'm going to have this be transfer. I will have them transfer leads as well. So hit edit at the top. And then go down to transfer leads. And hit save. One thing about permission sets and profiles is that permission sets grant more access than the profile gives. Permission sets can't take away access, neither with profiles actually. Profiles cannot take away access that the person already has based upon org-wide defaults or how the org is already set up. They can only give more permissions. So how it goes as far as security is, the org-wide defaults set the baseline for all users, no matter what their role is within the company. And then profiles give access based upon a criteria such as a department or a specific use case like sales, marketing, service. And then permission sets, which is this final thing, give additional access beyond the profiles to maybe a smaller subset of groups or to a person or a few people. So managers or maybe a consultant that's coming in to clean up your data or a VP, these types of things would be used for permission sets. Going to hit save. And then with all of these things, you do need to assign it to the user. So I'm going to assign sales manager permission set to Jane Doe. So then she can modify all opportunities and transfer leads. And there we go. We have given that to Jane Doe. All right, so that kind of comes to the end of the back end of Salesforce. I do want to run over some reporting and dashboard features with you because I found a lot that I would create reports as an admin. So let's go ahead and create a new report. A report type is going to be the different objects or groups of data that you'll see. We can have accounts and contacts, account with account teams. It's just easiest for me to explain this to you with opportunities. A few things on reports. If you update the preview automatically, that is super helpful. So then you don't have to save and run and then go in and out for every single thing that you're changing. So I'm going to change the filters. Filters narrow down our data based upon a certain set of logic. So currently it's filtering it down to the current fiscal quarter, and I want it to be of all time. Now you can see all of our opportunities that are assigned to me. To get rid of fields, you can go here to the little caret, scroll down to remove icon, or let's see, what's another field that we want to remove? We can remove next step. If you're on outline, you can also see the columns, and I want to remove next step because it's empty and there's no point in having it if it is empty. All right, so here we have just a list of all of our opportunities. We can add groups. So groups are going to bring together our data based upon a certain set of fields or options or whatnot. So we have different stages of our opportunities, ones that are closed or in the negotiation phase or in needs analysis. We can group that. So here, if we went to group, I searched for stage, and it is sorted by each different stage. Now, what I want to do is the amount field, I want to subtotal that as well as just total it. So I'm going to summarize and have this be sum. We do have the option for average, min, max. There are different ways that you can have this be. I'm just going to add sum, or different purposes for each of those, average, min, max. But for this purpose, I just want to summarize it and subtotal it. So here we have subtotals by the stage because it's grouped by stage. And then if we go down, we do have a grand total of 4.13 mil. Okay, and then we can change the name. I'll just save this as new opportunities report. We can save and run. So it'll create a report name, a unique name. So then if we have 5 new opportunities report, it won't get confused because it has those 3 characters amended to the end of it. I'm going to hit save. All right, and that is a really, really basic report. I have a whole reporting series on my channel if you want to go in more depth to that. Other things that we have are dashboards. So dashboards allow us to visualize our reports. I'm going to hit new report. Got to name it, new opportunity report. Description, I can leave blank. Have this be in my private dashboards folder. All right, here we can create a new component. So a component is just how we visualize it. So currently we have it down by stage within the opportunity, and it'll filter by the sum of the amount. So we can see closed 1 is 3.6 million. Negotiation and review is about 400K, and break it down by stage. There are 9 different ways, I believe 9 different ways. Let me count real quick. 11 different ways to visualize this. We can do bar charts. We can do stacked if it allows us to. My favorite is the donut chart, just because it allows us to break it down, and that's easiest for me to see. A list, scatter plot, funnel chart, gauge, metric, all those things in a bunch of different settings. So I'm going to go back to the donut, add, and there you go. That is a very basic dashboard. Hit save and done, and there you go. These do need to be refreshed manually, whereas reports will refresh as soon as you log in and hit the report that you're looking for. So that was a very long-winded admin training. I would love to have you subscribe to the channel if you are interested in it. Like, subscribe if you found this helpful. I do have a course to prepare for the admin exam, which a lot of this is covered in the admin exam in more depth. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one.